I wanted you here because we want to sort of interpret what we're seeing. Donald Trump is a guy who is used to being perceived as a winner. He now is losing. What do you think is going on in his head?
You know, that parody last night on Saturday Night Live captures it in the moment where he just basically can't keep his head moving his thoughts moving in a straight direction. I think he's melting down, and when he feels unworthy, he just falls apart. And this is something that I saw a long time ago, but particularly during this campaign. Any kind of needling that affects his ego is going to prompt a neurological shift from the parasympathetic nervous system, from his brain, from his prefrontal cortex into his amygdala, and he's going to react. He's not choosing to say those things. When he said such a nasty woman, that came out of him. He was surprised by it.
Yeah.
It's just automatic at that point. But the connection between his self-worth and his financial worth has been inextricable since he was 22 years old, since he got the money from his father and had money. So he's always been completely dependent on having people believe that he's unbelievably wealthy and certainly wealthier than he is. The pathos is he's a little boy. He's a little boy who's desperate for love, a particular kind of love. He never got it. He's not getting it now. And he's in a blend of rage and depression.
Yeah. Donald Trump has lived in the media for 30 years. Does he hate the media, or does he covet the love of the media?
Oh my gosh, he has a complete love-hate relationship with the media. Without the media, he ceases to exist because his sense of himself comes entirely from attention. So if he were to lose attention from the media, it was like air going out of a balloon. But, you know, more interesting to me than that about this Gettysburg speech is that set of things in his promise to America, his contract with America, you know, recalling Newt Gingrich's contract with America, is a group of policies and plans that I will bet you Trump himself hasn't even read. He doesn't know them, he doesn't understand them, and he has no intention of actually reading them because they are foreign to him. That's not what he's interested in. What he's interested in at this point is settling grievances.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you say that, because whenever Donald Trump reads a speech, and I'm not the first person to say this, he seems to be sort of discovering the information for the first time. He says, believe me, he says, oh yeah, that's right. And he sort of seems to be commenting on the text that he's reading.
There's no question, and you can tell every time he reads a speech, it is so far from the way he speaks. He has the smallest vocabulary of any person who's ever run for any kind of office, much less president. How about county commissioner? It's a 200-word vocabulary, so as soon as he gets beyond that, you know that he is reading someone else's words, and he has, as I've said many times, an incredibly short attention span, so he never reads those speeches in advance, and as a result, he is discovering them. Oh my gosh. And then he's getting distracted from them because all of that sense of inadequacy is rising up in him as he's reading, and he has to move to that. But what I do think is that if you said to Donald Trump right now, if I went to Trump Tower and I was able to talk to him and I said, look, Donald, if you adopt 15 classic left positions, I guarantee you can win. He would have already adopted them before I finished the words out of my mouth. He has no ideology. The ideology is to win. He said that a million times. He defines good temperament as winning. That has nothing to do with temperament.
Yeah.
He's about winning, and whatever would work to win, he would do. Right now, he feels like a cornered rat, and he doesn't see a way out, so he's scratching and he's moving, but there isn't really a solution for him. And were there a solution, he'd be happy to take it regardless of what belief it required him to change.
Yeah. Do you think it bothers him more that that it's Hillary Clinton, both because she's a woman and because it's someone he knows that's beating him?
Well, I certainly think it bothers him that it's a woman. I think that the fact that he thinks that he has certainly convinced himself that she is a felon of the worst sort. He's wound himself into a frenzy. It's being fed every day by his campaign staff, and particularly, I assume, by Steve Bannon, because so much of what he said during the last several weeks is straight out of the alt-right playbook and stuff that he never said before. If you actually analyze it, he's gone further right throughout this campaign as he's brought more and more right-wing people into the fold. Then he's begun to adopt that. Because, by the way, it's a very paranoid perspective on the world, the alt-right perspective. Yeah. Everybody's out to get me. And narcissism, I mean, I'm not going to be overly the therapist here because I'm not one, but narcissism has devolved into paranoia. Yeah. He's in a full paranoid state right now. And the world is truly, in his mind, out to get him. The media, the left, these 11, 12, who knows how many women. And do you know how many women, can you imagine how many women could come forward if they felt comfortable? I mean, listen, those 10 or 12 are really the smallest surface, I would suspect. I don't know, but I would suspect that there are hundreds of women who've had that experience with Donald Trump.
Wow. And my exit question is, and I think this is because there are so many people who are, despite all of this, very devoted to Donald Trump and believe that he will save them from an economic future they find bleak. Do you think Donald Trump cares about his voters?
I mean, I want to say this softly, in a soft voice, because he isn't capable of caring about anyone. That's the heart of the problem. He's so needy himself that he needs to spend all his energy on filling himself up. And there simply isn't any left to give to other people.
Wow. Tony Schwartz, a harsh assessment said in a very soft voice. I really appreciate you being here. The man who knows of what he speaks because he's the guy who really wrote The Art of the Deal. Thank you very much, sir. Really appreciate you. Great to talk to you.